New York City, the city that never sleeps, awoke to a crisp winter morning on January 15, 2009. The city was wrapped in a blanket of cold air, with temperatures hovering around freezing. The streets buzzed with the familiar chaos of morning rush hour. Yellow taxis honked impatiently as they navigated through the sea of cars, while pedestrians bundled up in heavy coats and scarves hurried along the sidewalks. The air was filled with the scent of freshly brewed coffee emanating from corner cafes, mixing with the occasional waft of roasted chestnuts from street vendors. Amid the cacophony, there was a sense of routine. Office workers clutching their briefcases and morning papers made their way to the subway stations, their breath visible in the frosty air. Students with backpacks slung over their shoulders chatted excitedly, their voices a lively counterpoint to the hum of the city. Tourists, easily identifiable by their wide-eyed expressions and cameras, took in the iconic skyline, marveling at landmarks like the Empire State Building and the Statue of Liberty. At LaGuardia Airport, one of the gateways to the city, the day began like any other. The airport was a microcosm of the city itself, bustling with activity as travelers hurried to catch their flights. Announcements echoed through the terminals, directing passengers to their gates and informing them of boarding times. The aroma of breakfast foods filled the air as travelers grabbed a quick bite before their flights. Security lines moved steadily, a testament to the efficiency of the airport staff. In the midst of this organized chaos, Captain Chesley Sully Sullenberger arrived at LaGuardia, ready for another day in the skies. Sully, a veteran pilot with decades of experience, was known for his calm demeanor and meticulous attention to detail. As he walked through the terminal, he reflected on his career. Flying had been a lifelong passion, and he had dedicated his life to mastering the art of aviation. He had seen it all from routine flights to emergency situations and had always managed to keep his cool under pressure. First Officer Jeffrey Skills, his co-pilot for the day, was equally experienced. Although newer to the Airbus A320, Skiles had logged thousands of flight hours on various aircraft. He shared Sully's passion for flying and was known for his quick thinking and problem-solving skills. That morning, Skiles also navigated through the terminal, thinking about his family and the routine nature of the day's flight. He was looking forward to another uneventful journey, one of many in his storied career. The pre-flight briefing between Sully and Skills was thorough and professional. They reviewed the flight plan, weather conditions, and any potential issues that might arise. Both pilots were confident in their preparation and the reliability of the aircraft. The cabin crew, led by head flight attendant Donna Dent, was equally prepared. Dent, a seasoned professional, ensured that her team was ready for the day's flight, going over safety procedures and preparing the cabin for boarding. As passengers began to board Flight 1549, they were greeted with warm smiles and polite greetings from the cabin crew. Each passenger had their own story, their own reason for being on that flight. There was a businessman heading to a crucial meeting in Charlotte, a family excited for a vacation, and a young woman traveling to visit her fiancé. They settled into their seats, some reading books or magazines, others engrossed in conversations or simply gazing out of the windows. At 3:26 p.m., with all passengers aboard and seated, Flight 1549 was cleared for takeoff. The aircraft taxied to the runway, the anticipation of the journey ahead palpable inside the cabin. As the plane accelerated down the runway and lifted off into the clear, cold sky, passengers experienced the familiar sensation of takeoff, the slight jolt as the wheels left the ground, the view of the shrinking airport below, and the excitement of the journey ahead. The climb was smooth, the aircraft cutting through the crisp winter air with ease. For Sully and Skiles, it was business as usual. They monitored the instruments, communicated with air traffic control, and settled into the rhythm of the flight. In the cabin, passengers relaxed, some dozing off, others chatting or working on laptops. The flight attendants began their routine, preparing for the beverage service and ensuring that everyone was comfortable. But barely 3 minutes into the flight, the unthinkable happened. A flock of Canada geese collided with the plane, and the sound of the impact was sudden and startling. Both engines lost power almost immediately, and the cockpit fell eerily silent. Captain Sullenberger's decades of experience kicked in as he quickly assessed the gravity of the situation. The aircraft was now a powerless glider, and the densely populated city below offered no safe place to land. With no engine thrust and rapidly losing altitude, Sully and Skiles worked together to restart the engines, but their efforts were in vain. The gravity of the situation was clear. They needed to find a place to land, and fast. Sully's mind raced through the possibilities. Returning to LaGuardia or diverting to nearby Teterboro Airport were both deemed impossible given their altitude and location. The only viable option was a water landing on the Hudson River. This decision, made in a matter of seconds, would later be hailed as one of the most remarkable feats in aviation history. Sully informed the passengers and crew to brace for impact, his calm and authoritative tone helping to prevent panic. In the cabin, the flight attendants swiftly guided passengers through the emergency procedures, their professionalism and training evident in every action. As the aircraft descended, the view of the Hudson River grew larger in the windows. The idea of a successful water landing seemed implausible, yet it was the only option to avoid catastrophic loss of life. Sully and Skills focused intently on their instruments and controls, working in perfect tandem. The tension was palpable, but their resolve was unwavering. At 3:31 p.m., just 6 minutes after takeoff, Flight 1549 made contact with the surface of the Hudson River. The impact was jarring, but the aircraft remained intact, floating on the icy water. The moments following the touchdown were critical. The calm and decisive actions of the crew ensured an orderly evacuation, despite the shock and disbelief that permeated the cabin. Passengers clambered out onto the wings, some in tears, others in silent astonishment, the frigid air biting at their exposed skin. As the aircraft bobbed in the river, emergency response teams mobilized rapidly. Ferries, water taxis, and rescue boats converged on the scene, plucking passengers from the water and transporting them to safety. Within minutes, all 155 individuals aboard Flight 1549 were rescued. The extraordinary outcome defied the odds, earning the event its moniker, the Miracle on the Hudson. Captain Sullenberger and his crew were hailed as heroes, their actions celebrated worldwide. Investigations into the incident affirmed that the water landing was the best possible decision given the circumstances. The National Transportation Safety Board, NTSB, concluded that Sullenberger's decision-making, skill, and composure were instrumental in saving lives. In the years that followed, the story of Flight 1549 became an enduring symbol of courage, teamwork, and the triumph of the human spirit. Captain Sullenberger penned a memoir, sharing his perspective on that fateful day and the journey that led him there. His account inspired countless individuals, highlighting the importance of preparation, training, and the ability to stay calm under pressure. The Miracle on the Hudson remains a testament to the extraordinary potential within ordinary people when faced with extraordinary circumstances. It serves as a reminder that even in the face of disaster, hope and heroism can prevail, leaving an indelible mark on history. As Flight 1549 climbed steadily into the sky, the passengers and crew settled into what they expected to be an uneventful flight. However, just 3 minutes after takeoff, disaster struck. A flock of Canada geese suddenly appeared, and the impact was immediate and catastrophic. The sound of the birds hitting the engines was deafening, and within moments, both engines lost power. The cockpit fell eerily silent, save for the alarm bells and the sound of air rushing past the fuselage. Captain Sullenberger and First Officer Skills were trained for emergencies, but a dual-engine failure at such a low altitude was an exceptionally rare and dire situation. The pilots quickly assessed the damage and tried to restart the engines, but their efforts were futile. The aircraft was now a powerless glider, losing altitude rapidly over one of the most densely populated areas in the world. The gravity of the situation was clear. They needed to find a place to land, and fast. Inside the cockpit, the tension was palpable. Captain Sullenberger and First Officer Skills communicated with air traffic control, their voices calm but urgent. The options were limited, and time was running out. Returning to LaGuardia or diverting to Teterboro Airport seemed impossible given their altitude and location. The plane was too low and too slow to make it to either airport safely. The risk of crashing into buildings or populated areas was too great. As they scanned the horizon, Captain Sullenberger made a decision that would later be hailed as one of the most remarkable feats in aviation history. The Hudson River, a wide expanse of water cutting through the heart of New York City, presented itself as the only viable option. It was a daring and unconventional choice, but Sully's years of experience and training told him it was their best chance for survival. As the aircraft descended towards the river, the view of the Hudson grew larger in the windows. The idea of a successful water landing seemed implausible, yet it was the only option to avoid catastrophic loss of life. Captain Sullenberger and First Officer's skills worked in perfect tandem, their coordination and training evident in every maneuver. The tension was palpable, but their resolve was unwavering. At 3:31 p.m., just 6 minutes after takeoff, Flight 1549 made contact with the surface of the Hudson River. The impact was jarring, sending a spray of icy water over the wings and fuselage. But the aircraft remained intact, floating on the river's surface. The moments following the touchdown were critical. The calm and decisive actions of the crew ensured an orderly evacuation, despite the shock and disbelief that permeated the cabin. As Flight 1549 floated on the Hudson River, the cabin crew sprang into action. The flight attendants, trained for such emergencies, guided passengers to the exits, deploying the inflatable slides that doubled as life rafts. Passengers clambered out onto the wings, some in tears, others in silent astonishment, the frigid air biting at their exposed skin. Despite the chaos, a sense of camaraderie emerged among the survivors. Strangers helped each other, sharing jackets and offering words of comfort. Inside the cockpit, Captain Sullenberger and First Officer Skiles ensured that everyone was evacuating safely. Sully was the last to leave the aircraft, walking through the cabin twice to ensure no one was left behind. His calm and methodical approach was instrumental in the success of the evacuation, further solidifying his status as a hero. Emergency response teams mobilized rapidly. Ferries, water taxis, and rescue boats converged on the scene, plucking passengers from the water and transporting them to safety. Within minutes, all 155 individuals aboard Flight 1549 were rescued. The extraordinary outcome defied the odds, earning the event its moniker, the Miracle on the Hudson. The rescue operations were a coordinated effort, a seamless dance of human and mechanical efficiency that highlighted the best of New York's emergency services. The passengers, many of them soaked and shivering, were taken to various locations along the river's edge, where they were met by emergency medical personnel, police, and firefighters. Some were treated for hypothermia and minor injuries, but remarkably, there were no fatalities. The survivors were later transported to hospitals, where they were reunited with their loved ones and given medical attention. Captain Sullenberger and his crew were hailed as heroes, their actions celebrated worldwide. Investigations into the incident affirmed that the water landing was the best possible decision given the circumstances. The National Transportation Safety Board, NTSB, concluded that Sullenberger's decision-making, skill, and composure were instrumental in saving lives. In the weeks and months that followed, the story of Flight 1549 became an enduring symbol of courage, teamwork, and the triumph of the human spirit. Captain Sullenberger penned a memoir, sharing his perspective on that fateful day and the journey that led him there. His account inspired countless individuals, highlighting the importance of preparation, training, and the ability to stay calm under pressure. For the survivors, the experience was transformative. Many reflected on how the incident changed their perspectives on life, instilling a renewed sense of gratitude and appreciation for their loved ones. Some formed lasting bonds with their fellow passengers, united by the shared trauma and triumph of that fateful day. Captain Sullenberger, while humbled by the accolades and attention, remained steadfast in his belief that he was simply doing his job. He often spoke about the importance of training and preparedness, using his newfound platform to advocate for advancements in aviation safety. His humility and dedication to his profession further endeared him to the public, cementing his legacy as a true American hero. In conclusion, The Miracle on the Hudson is a story of extraordinary courage and resilience. It is a tale of how ordinary individuals, when faced with extraordinary circumstances, can rise to the occasion and perform acts of heroism that inspire and uplift. The events of January 15, 2009 will forever be remembered as a shining example of what humanity is capable of when we work together, stay calm under pressure, and never give up hope.